Yo, what's up, sports bettors? We got the NBA playoffs, and I got a parlay. Okay, my parlay has the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, as well as the MLB, like 17 MLB games today. So, found a lot of value in the market, put together a six-leg parlay. Let's get into it.
So my parlay is on a platform called Parlay Play. So pretty fitting. This platform's called Parlay Play. And the way this platform works is pretty interesting, right? It's different than a sports book. So if you look at Parlay Play, there's no odds on this platform, right? So it's very different than FanDuel. You look at FanDuel, you see a bunch of numbers, right? You look at Parlay Play, there's no numbers. You just select overs and unders, and you always get the same payout, right? If you go 6 for 6, you get a 25x payout, 5 for 6, 2.5x payout. Doesn't matter if we change Timo from an under to an over or whatever, right? Any 6 picks you select, this is your payout. So these are called fantasy sports companies. And the way they work is, again, you select overs, unders, it doesn't change your payout. These platforms do not vary your payout based on you selecting over or under, which is pretty interesting. So the first pick I ended up going with is right here. I'm on Al Horford over 6 rebounds, right? So I'm taking Al Horford over 6 rebounds. And what you're going to notice is all of the sports books, Prize Picks, Underdog, they all have Horford's line at 6.5. Right? FanDuel. Take a look at FanDuel. They have Horford's over 6.5 rebounds, actually at minus 118 odds. So they have the over 6.5 rebounds favored. And on Parlay Play, we're getting over 6. So we're getting half of a rebound better, right? Parlay Play's at 6. All of the other data points in the market, all sports books, Underdog, Prize Picks, they all have his line at 6.5. And we're getting him over 6. Right? So Parlay Play's below the market, so we want to take the over. So essentially, as a sharp bettor, I've explained this before, but all books, right, they try to set lines independently. Every sports book wants to be unique. So if you look at Clint Capella, all the books, Prize Picks, Underdog, Parlay Play, all the sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, they all have Capella's line at 10.5 rebounds. There's no value in the market, right? There's no value, there's no discrepancies. As a sharp sports bettor, we're looking for value, we're looking for discrepancies. And here, Horford's line is at 6, all the books are at 6.5, so we want to take the over, right? Parlay Play, they're too low relative to the rest of the market. And you can actually see, like half of the sports books, FanDuel, PointsBet, they have Horford's over 6.5 rebounds as the favored outcome, right? FanDuel has Horford's over 6.5 rebounds juiced. It's juiced towards the over. So that's the first play I went with. And again, this betting tool on OddsJam is called the Odds Screen. So you just go to Screen, then Odds Screen, and that's the first tool we're going to look at. So that tool is pretty interesting because it helps you spot, essentially spots where sportsbooks have lines set at different levels. So you look at Prize Picks, they have Horford's line at 6.5, Underdogs at 6.5, Parlay Plays at 6. So Parlay Plays line is too low. We want to take the over. So that's the first betting tool I use to find a lot of my plays. And then I also use this OddsJam Positive EV tool. So this is probably the tool where I find most of my plays. So we just looked at the odds screen, but the Positive EV tool is where I find the majority of my plays. And this tool is pretty simple, right? So we just explained, right? We took Horford over 6 because all the sportsbooks, Prize Picks, Underdog, FanDuel, everyone had Horford's line at 6.5. In fact, FanDuel had the over 6.5 rebounds favored as a favored outcome, and we're getting over 6, right? So we're getting over 6, and all the sportsbooks have his line at 6.5, and FanDuel has the over favored. So that seems pretty good. But the second tool I use is the EV tool. And this tool compares when books have the line set at the same level, right? So we're looking at the odds screen. The odds screen shows us where books have the lines set at different levels. So here for Saddiq Bey, all the books have his line at 10.5 points, right? So there's no discrepancy in where sports books are setting the line. Every single book has his line at 10.5 points. But what you're going to notice is the big sports books like Pinnacle, the sharpest sports book in the world, DraftKings, Caesars, they all have his under 10.5 points as the favorite outcome. So all of these, billion-dollar companies, Bovada, Caesars, DraftKings, really complicated models, they all have Saddiq Bey, his under 10.5 points as the favorite outcome. So this is a profitable play to include in our parlay play entry. Right? You have Caesars, DraftKings, Bovada, Pinnacle. So 4 of the biggest sportsbooks out there, all telling you, hey, Saddiq Bey, his under is more likely, right? His under is the favorite outcome. So again, because on Parlay Play, they're not changing your payouts based on you selecting over or under, the strategy for beating them is pretty simple, right? You want to find spots, and I'll hit the refresh button. We'll see if any new plays show up. So you can see here's another play on Al Horford. So we already took him over 6 rebounds, so I'm not going to place this again, but if we go ahead and we wait for this to load, what you're going to see is all the sportsbooks will have his over, right? They all have his over 18.5 points, or points plus rebounds plus assists as the heavily favored outcome, right? Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, they have his line at minus 135, Bovada minus 145, BetRivers minus 115, Caesars minus 163. So all the books have his over 18.5 PRAs as the heavily favored outcome. So because on Parlay Play, they're not changing your payouts based on you selecting over or under, what you'd want to include in your entry is Horford's over, right? Let's remove this. What you would want to include is his over 18.5 PRAs, right? Because again, they're not going to change your payout based on you selecting over or under, and all the books are telling you, hey, his over is the heavily favored outcome. Caesars has this at minus 163. All the books have his over as the heavily favored outcome. So that would be a great play to include in your parlay play entry. So the second play I went with was again, whatever it was. I went with Ken over 4.5 strikeouts. I went with a lot of these plays. So let's just go over. I'll show my slip. And hopefully we have a good day betting. So let's go back here, and I'm going to go to entries, and here you're going to see my 6 picks. Horford over 6.5 rebounds, Gordon over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. So this play is called this tool is called the fantasy screen. So you can see right here, you just hit this refresh button, and this tool is pretty similar to the EV tool. There's no BS. All it's doing is it's reading in sportsbook odds and showing you places where sportsbooks have an over or an under heavily favored. So, you can see for Aaron Gordon, all the books have his over 8.5 rebounds plus assists as a heavy favorite, around minus 135 odds. So because parlay play, again, it's so important to understand because they're not changing your payouts based on you hitting over or under, you just want to find spots where books have one side heavily favored. And in this case, it's Aaron Gordon's over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. We're just following the data, right? The sports books, these sophisticated sports books that have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines, they're all telling you, yo, Aaron Gordon's over 8.5 should be the heavily favored outcome. So getting this in your parlay play entry is great. So we have Horford over 6 rebounds, Gordon over 8.5 rebounds plus assists, Garland over 27.5 points plus assists, But you can also see it's just from this fantasy screen, so you just want to take all the plays in green. So Garland over 27.5 points plus assists. So I went with that. And then I took Batum under 10.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. So you can see that right here. Still in green, right at the yellow mark. We want to stop taking these plays. So I took Batum under 18.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Ken over 4.5 strikeouts. So this play is just right from the EV tool, the bet in bold and in green. And then I took Sadiq Bey under 10.5 points. So 6 picks. I tried to bet 60, but I guess I actually bet 59, $1 lower. So that's what I went with on Parlay Play. They have max bet sizes of $60 typically. So that's what I ended up going with. And let's make some money, guys.